Hello and welcome to helpyourmath.com. In this video, we are going to look at the costs of home ownership, starting with some vocabulary and calculating a monthly mortgage cost. First, let's talk about the vocabulary. A loan for a home is usually a very long-term loan, probably one of the longest you'll ever make. Many are 30-year loans. Here is some vocabulary associated with home buying. When you secure the money for a home loan, that's called the mortgage. The length of time until the last payoff is the term of the mortgage. The amount you pay of the purchase price up front, that's at the time of the sale, is called the down payment. The principal of the mortgage is the difference between the purchase price and the down payment. Let's talk a little more about mortgages. A fixed rate mortgage is a mortgage in which the interest rate will remain the same throughout the term. The initial principal balance and the interest on the loan are repaid to the lender through regular, usually monthly payments. This is a very, very common type of mortgage that we make. You want to be careful if there's other types. So if you're being offered a balloon mortgage, just be careful with those. I like fixed rate because I know what I'm getting into. It's going to be the same amount, whether it's the first month or the 100th month, and so on. When you pay back the loan, and it consists of a combination of principal and interest, this is called amortizing the loan. The regular monthly payment needed to amortize a loan is determined based on the amount financed, the term of the loan, and the interest rate according to this formula. So we have this formula here where R is our regular monthly payment, that's uppercase R. P is the loan amount or the principal. R is the annual interest rate. And remember that interest rate is usually given as a percent. We want to make sure that when we're actually plugging this into the formula, we are converting it to its equivalent decimal. To do that, we're going to divide by 100, which moves the decimal point 2 places to the left. So if we have something like 5.6%, to rewrite this as a decimal, we're going to move it 2 places to the left, which would be 0.056. And this is the value that we would use for R. And then T is term in years. So let's put this formula to use. Make sure you have a calculator handy. I'm going to put a calculator on the screen so I can go through the work with you. You'll notice that this is a pretty complicated formula. If your calculator does not follow order of operations, then you need to follow order of operations first. It's also pretty important. We want to keep these exact as possible because even a slight rounding could lead to a very different monthly payment. And we want these to be as precise as possible. Okay, so in this example, we want to amortize a $450,000 mortgage at 2.5% annual interest for 30 years. I'm going to write down all the important things here. I know that uppercase P is $450,000. I know that R is 2.5%, but remember I want to convert this to its equivalent decimal. So I'm going to divide by 100, giving me 0.025. And the term is 30 years. Remember, T in this formula is years, so we want to make sure that we're using years. Okay, so now I'm going to bring up the calculator. Okay, and we're going to plug this in as we see it. And again, I want to be really careful. Just to be super careful, I'm just going to use probably extra parentheses, but I'm going to say parenthesis, 450,000 times. And then if I can do a parenthesis, I don't need to. That's optional here. If you want to, you can. Interest rate, remember that's 0.025 divided by 12. And this is my whole numerator, right? So I have that whole numerator inside parentheses. Then I'm going to say divided by, and now here's where I'm going to need lots of parentheses. So I need to put the entire denominator in parentheses, especially because there's that subtraction sign. So I open up a parenthesis, 1 minus, I'm going to open up that other parenthesis, 12 divided by, and I'm going to go ahead and do 12 plus R. 12 plus R will be 12 plus 0.025 or 12.025. So divided by 12.025. Okay, now this little division statement is being raised to a power, so we want to find raised to there's x squared, but I'm not squaring it, right? I'm doing 12 times t. So this caret, this is called a caret, means we're going to raise it. And it's going to raise what precedes it, what comes right before it, which is that little thing, just that 12 divided by 12.025, which is all I want raised to this power. Now, I also want to be careful. Some calculators will follow order of operations, so you need to probably do 12 times T and put that product in here as opposed to saying 12 times 30. So I'm going to go ahead and just enter the product of 12 times 30, which is 360. Okay, so now I'm done with that. So I'm going to use this arrow key to get out of the exponent because we're not done yet, right? We need to still close out the denominator. So I'm going to put a parenthesis there to end the denominator. And then I'm going to say equals. And there's my value. So that's my monthly mortgage payment given these conditions, $1,778.04. So we're going to write that down. $1,778.04 would be the monthly payment on this loan. Let's try this one more time. So I always encourage you, pause the video, see if you can do this on your own, especially with the calculator work here. We want to make sure that we're closing parentheses, opening parentheses, doing calculations as needed. So let's pause the video. Okay, how'd you do? Did you get a monthly payment? Let's find out. Okay, in this case, P is equal to 120,000 and R is equal to 3.5%, which I'm going to write as 0.035. T is equal to 20 years this time. And then I just want to go ahead and preemptively do these calculations. So 12 plus R is 12.035, just so I'm entering that in the calculator instead of 12 plus 0.035. And then 12T would be 12 times 20, which would be 240. We're going to pull the calculator up and plug this all in. Okay, so we're going to do 120,000 times 0.035 divided by 12. And you know what? I didn't put this in parentheses the way I was supposed to. So what I'm going to do, because this is strictly the numerator, is I'm just going to say enter. That's going to give me that value. Now, if I immediately hit divided by, it's going to remember, or it's going to use the very last calculation as that leading spot. So where it says ANS, that means answer, and it's going to take that 350, and now it's going to divide 350 by what I want it to divide it by. 1 minus, and then I'm going to open up parentheses, 12 divided by, and remember I'm just typing that sum in, 12.035. I'm going to close that parenthesis, so I'm closing that inner parenthesis, the 12 divided by 12.035. I'm raising that to the 240th, and now I'm going to just use this arrow key to get it out of the exponent. Uh-oh, that's only 24. Hold on, I'm going to use this arrow key to go back and put the 0 in. There we go. And I'm going to close the parenthesis, and I get $695.95. $695.95 would be the monthly payment on this particular mortgage. Now, you might be saying, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And it is, but luckily, someone decided that they would come up with a table to give examples based on common interest rates and common terms of mortgages. So this tells us a monthly payment per $1,000 of mortgage. We can use this. Now, this is a really cool chart, but it doesn't include every single interest rate. My interest rate, for example, is none of these. It doesn't fall on this chart, so I would not be able to use this chart. I would have to rely on the formula for my own personal monthly payments. But if yours does happen to fall on this chart, or if you're looking for an approximation, maybe you're getting quoted 3.1%, you would get a rough idea by looking at 3%. And again, this is per $1,000. So we're going to go back and we're going to redo these two examples just using that table. So what we need is we need the 2.5% and we need the 30 years. So I'm going to go back. 2.5% is right here. That's the second row. And then 30 is right here. So we're looking for this value here. So I'm paying $3.95121 per $1,000. And we need all of those numbers. We need, even though that's not an actual cent amount, we still include this whole calculation. So we're going to take this 395,121, 395,121, and then what I'll start out to do, remember this is per $1,000. So I'm going to say, okay, this is per 1,000, but my mortgage in this example is $450,000. And I don't really want to put this in the calculator. I'm very likely to make mistakes. I see I can divide this by 1,000 and I can divide this by 1,000. So really, I'm just doing this calculation if I simplify this. 3.95121 times 450. And let's see if that matches what we got in our first example. Looking back, I see we did have $1,778.04. When I type this in, 3.95121 times 450, we get 1778.04. There we will round because now we are talking about a monthly amount. So it does work. Yay! Oops, it turned red. That's okay. 0.04. So this just confirms that we could use this table if we can, right? Only if we can. And our last example, let's just reconfirm this one. So we're looking in this table this time for 3.5% for 20 years. 3.5% is right here. 20 years is right here. So that would be this one right there, 5.79960. 5.79960. We'll divide this. This is per 1,000, but this particular mortgage is for $120,000. And again, before I actually multiply, let's clean this up. I can divide this by 1,000 and I can divide this by 1,000. So we're looking at the calculation 5.79960 times 120. And we're hoping that it matches 695.95. Let's find out. Okay, I have my calculator ready. 5.7996. I can disregard that last zero times 120. There it is, 695.95. 695.95. So if we can use that table, it makes our lives a lot easier, doesn't it? These have been examples about calculating a mortgage and going over the vocabulary of a mortgage. I will end this by saying that I am not a mortgage broker or a lender or a banker of any sort, and you should always, always talk to a professional if you really are going to apply for a mortgage. Don't take my word for it. I'm just trying to kind of help guide you and make sense of what these numbers mean, but I am by no means a professional, and this should be taken strictly as educational purposes. These have been examples of mortgages. Thank you for stopping.